Um, the first verse says, I'm at the beginning of a brand new path. Here I stand before the road that others have walked before. But this is new to me. I leap and say a prayer. I'm on my way to where? So let me start by asking you a question. Do you know where your where is? Now, maybe in a big general way as well, but your where is in different parts of your life. Where is your where in your relationships at work or at home? Where is your where in your body temple? Where is your where in your creative life or your work life? Where is your where in your pocketbook life? Where is your where? It's been said that the right use of the law will set us free, and through a wrong use of it, we may again be entangled in bondage. When I read that, and I've read that before, but when I found it again last week, I was like, the wrong use of the law. And I thought, is there really a wrong use of the law? There's a dumb use of the law. and I've had many occasions of using the law in a very dumb way. We all do it. We all allow our thoughts of gunk and junk and lack of imitation, blah, 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 to get in our way. But is that a wrong use of the law or just a dumb one? Ernest Holmes, who wrote the book The Science of Mind, said, which Reverend Barbara said earlier, what we persist in recognizing, we persist in holding in place. So, what we resist persists. What we persist in seeing, thinking about, having an idea of, living of, being okay with, because it's okay, it's not the end of the world, will persist in our life. It's not going to go away as long as we keep allowing it in our lives. Now, I know we get confused. There's a lot going on, and so sometimes in life we need to take shortcuts. You know, I can't worry about that. I'll worry about that later. I got to do this now. Everyone thinks this way, so I'll think that way too. And hey, you know, there's proof from my past that this little fact here is actually the truth. So don't go telling me. Or, hey, this is easier. And I like my life easy, and I don't want to work hard in any sort of way. So I'm just going to let it be. This thing in my life that's not so great maybe, but, you know, it's easier. But where's a mind like that get you, using those excuses, as powerful as they may be sometimes in your life? That means we get to hold on to resentments, we get to hold on to addictions, we get to hold on to hurts, past hurts, present hurts. We get to hold on to relationships that we're not even in anymore. We get to think about the good old days. People talk about the good old days. And when they talk about the good old days, I think, wow, that's what are the good old days? What does that mean? You know, a lot of times we aren't even aware what that means. But the good old days is usually just a feeling. It's not actions. It's not. It can be experiences, but it's not experiences in the larger sense. It's just how we felt, what our emotions were in this, what we are considering a positive thing, or the good old days. You can add to the list at your leisure of those things. In the Science of Mind book, it says if a man or woman, if a person takes their images of thought only from their previous experiences, then they continue in the bondage which those previous experiences create. That's fun. Eventually, we shall understand that all human bondage, I love this, is an invention of ignorance.
Okay.
Isn't that fun? I love that. Eventually we understand that all human bondage is an invention of ignorance. So anybody been ignorant lately?
Oh, yeah.
Good. In big ways, in little ways? Yeah. Let's go back to the song. She wrote, there will be monsters, devils, demons, obstacles galore, fairies, mermaids, unicorns, the stuff of old folklore. Will it change the way I see things or affect me drastically? An open heart is just a part of a discovery. An open heart is just a part of a discovery. Being an open channel to the divine, these two, being an open channel to the divine allows us to experience that infinite good that's out there. And more of the infinite good that's already in your life. I don't want to discount any of the good that's in your life. We can stay narrow and stagnate, and we all do in some ways in some part of our lives. Or we can sometimes stay too broad and not specify our lives, you know? You can stay in this whole big, well, I'm a religious scientist and everything is good. Well, that's true. You don't have to be a religious scientist for everything to be good. You don't have to be in this philosophy. That's what a religious scientist is, in case you don't know. You don't have to be in this philosophy and everything being good. But people will say that, and all is good, and God's taking care of me, and all of that is great, and all of that is true. But the law is just sitting there going, okay, what else? Could you be more specific? Many believe there's only so much to go around in life, that they've had their chance. They're too old, they're too this, they're too that. We all have that. I've said it, I've done it, and you know what? It's a lie. It's a lie. I am not going to become a basketball player. I am not going to become a football player. I am not going to be the dancer that I was 30 years ago, or even the singer I was 30 years ago. That's a lie. I can if I want to. I may not be able to dance quite 8 shows a week, 7 shows a week. But yes, I could. It's all a lie. I am not going to become that basketball player because I have no interest in that. I don't even have interest in watching that, no offense. So that's not going to happen. So that's not a lie because I don't have any passion for that. So how would I put that somehow in my belief system and make that happen when everything in me says, why, so what? But the law and the universe has an inexhaustible force. An inexhaustible force and an inexhaustible source of everything you desire in your life. Not just anything in life, anything that you desire in your life. And it doesn't matter your age or anything like that. Hubble's law said, you know who Hubble is? Hubble was a famous scientist who they named a telescope that's out there in space. He said that, and this was probably what he's most famous for, he said that we live in a dynamic universe. Einstein didn't quite know that yet. And Hubble said, no, wait a minute. The universe is not stagnant. The universe is ever expanding. So if the universe is ever expanding and all that is just energy floating around and we're just part of that energy, then we're always expanding as we choose. I want to read you something from Deepak Chopra's book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. He says, the source of all creation is pure consciousness. Pure potentiality seeking expression from the unmanifest to the manifest. So, the universe is seeking expression through each and every one of us, and that's one of the basic tenets of this philosophy, is that the universe is just there wanting to experience itself through you, as you. Not just through me, not just the only way I do it, but the way Lake does it, the way Dana does it. And that's how the universe experiences life, by the individual versions of it, which we are. He goes on to say, and when we realize that our true self is one of pure potentiality. We align with the power that manifests everything in the universe. Now I can hear you go, yeah. Sure, everybody, not me. Chopra says, one true self is one of pure potentiality. Oh yeah? I can hear somebody say, I never went to college. How am I of pure potentiality? Chopra also says, align with the power that manifests everything in the universe. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to sit and do your manifestation stuff. I don't care if it takes 4 seconds or 20 minutes or an hour or whatever. I don't have time. Have you seen my schedule? Ernest Holmes wrote earlier when I spoke of one of his quotes, he said, release the bonds of ignorance and the past. Oh, I hear many people say, oh yeah? Do you know my past? I have a legit reason to hold on to this feeling, to this emotion, to this attitude, to this perspective on life. You don't know my past. In a book called Spiritual Economics, a fabulous book that I will teach one day next year, Eric Butterworth wrote, establish ourselves in the omnipresence of universal substance. Establish ourselves in the omnipresence of universal substance. And of course the book is called Spiritual Economics, so he's talking about the economy of your life. And people will say, yeah, I got my bills. Who's going to pay them? God?
Yeah.
Why not?
But you're a little more aware. Jean Houston wrote a book called, actually she has a course called Unlocking Your Quantum Powers. And in it she wrote, live in the light. And you'll hear some version of that. Even here, I'll say something about live in the light. And light meaning the capital L, the light of the divinity in you. Well, I can hear people say, and I might have said it myself, just not in this exact way, I got aches and pains you don't even know about. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? So bills, aches and pains, past traumas, addictions, ageism, classism, I'm too this, I'm not enough that, is story, lack, limitation, blah, 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 blah. Resistance. I am not belittling things going on in your life. I'm telling you to get on it because all of those excuses, all of those stories is resistance. And you can resistance yourself to believe that nothing can get you out of that situation, that thought process, that perspective. And some of you may say, well, what you're talking about, that's a little overwhelming. That's a little overbearing of you to even bring it up. You're stepping over the line here, buddy, which is what part of my mission is, and my purpose is to provoke you. Hopefully inspire you too, but provoke you to step up, to bust through, soar, and zoom, whatever it is. Florence Scovel Shinn has written some fabulous books, and she was an early 20th century writer. She wrote, the game of life is the game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. So what are you throwing out there? What are you throwing out there? It's like planting a tree. Like, imagine you're planting an apple tree. So first you want rich soil, right? So that's your mind. Your mind is the rich soil. Your thoughts are the seeds that you drop into the rich soil. Your action is the action that you do based on your thought and perspective on not only life, but that specific idea, is the water. So you're out there watering by taking action. By getting this, doing that, doing what you need to do, what you can do in this 3D life to make that happen. And your feelings about it is the light of the sun. So you have all this rich soil that you already have. The rich soil is already there, whether you use it smartly or not. It's there. The seeds are your thoughts. You're having thoughts all the time, and you can choose those thoughts, remember. So if you get thoughts that you don't like, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Your action, the action you take, your list of goals, your list of things you do today, all that. But your feelings about it, that's where the mayo is. That's where the mustard is. That's the juice. That's the au jus of life. Get you hungry? A few more minutes. That is your feelings about it. That's where, to put it in a, that's where the magic is, really. That's where the miracle comes from, is your feelings about it. Because you can do this, that, and the other. You can think great thoughts all the time, all positive thoughts all the time. But if you don't have a feeling and an understanding and a faith that all your thoughts reveal this and do this, you're never going to do that. Because it's the feelings, it's the light of the sun that makes all that grow. And burgeon, I love that word, burgeon, which means grow. Most people don't get what they want because they are trained to think about what they don't want. That happens to us, and Barbara spoke about that a little bit as well. We are trained to get rid of things we don't want anymore. There's a pen, I don't want it there, so I'll put it there. Here's an idea, here's a job, I don't want it there, I'll put it over there. Do you want to get rid of that job, or do you want a better job? Do you want to get rid of that deal, or do you want a better deal? Because if all your attention is getting rid of, getting it out of your life, then that's what the law hears. I want that out of my life. Okay. That's all you're concentrating on? Well, then I got to leave it there, because all you're thinking is about is that. I need to hear what you want, not what you don't want. Yes? We focus on what we want. If we want a better job, then let's decide what that better job looks like, feels like, smells like, tastes like, sounds like. What's it feel like? What's it feel like to not be an accountant here, but an accountant here? What does it feel like to be an accountant at Sony Pictures? Because Culver City is a fabulous place. I live there, and that's where Sony Studios is. So you get to go to work in Culver City, which is so fabulous. You can walk to so many restaurants from the studios. And the people, I've not been there. I assume the people are nice. So those things start building up. Why Sony Studios versus Joe Schmo Accounting School? Or Mutual of Omaha Life Insurance. Why there than here? Because this is what? What do I feel about Sony Studios? Now the law has something to work with. You may not end up at Sony Studios, you may not end up at Universal, which means you can go to that fun park every day too. But you're giving the feeling of what that Sony Studios is. That's what the law wants. That's what, that is the water and the sun that's going to shine upon your idea of where you want to be and how you want to be an accountant in this particular idea. Now, when negative thoughts show up or opposing thoughts show up, fine. They're going to show up. So what? They show up. You got pasts, you got past hurts, you got past addictions, you got past this, that, or the other. And I don't mean just addictions like drugs or alcohol or anything like that. We all have addictions to other things. We have addictions to thinking this way or that way. We have addictions to holding on to the hurts that mom and dad gave us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So addictions can be different things. They're not the obvious ones. But when these things show up, and they will show up, and it's okay, then there's this great thing that you can do, and it's probably one of the first words that we learned even before mama and papa or mommy and daddy. And what is that word?
No.
No. Very powerful word. Yes. No. And even though some other humans may not understand that no when you're saying that to them, you will understand it. You will get it. So stop resisting those negative thoughts coming in. Okay, fine. Just tell them to go away. Dr. Alicia Goldstein is the co-founder of the Center for Mindful Living in West Los Angeles. Didn't know there was such a place. I'm going to go look for it. He wrote a book. He wrote an article called "Know Your Resistance," and "know" K-N-O-W. He split out into words. So K is no resistance is inevitable and relentless. It's not personal. That sound familiar? Don't take things personally? Oh, yeah. That's a four agreement thing. N is for notice it in your day. The moment you're aware, you have created a little space between you and it, because now it becomes something else. You understand what I'm saying? When you allow it, it becomes part of you. When you recognize it and go, oh, I don't like that. Now it's a that. A that is not something that's necessarily on you like a shirt. There's a distance, and you start the relationship to be a distance that you can push further and further away. O is open to the experience of it. How does it feel in your body? Get intimate with it so you can recognize the sensations, the thoughts surrounding it, and behaviors it defaults you to. This begins what he calls the left prefrontal shift. And I won't get into the science of that, but basically he's saying as we recognize it and kind of get intimate with it, you know, there is a distance that starts occurring, but we're also realizing what's happening in our body, because you'll find out. There are times where I'll get cranky, and then I stop myself and I go, okay, what does this feel like? What just happened before? It's a good acting lesson too for those who want to get into acting. What happened before? And why am I feeling this now? So what is my body? Is my body tense? Is my, are my eyes twitching? What went on in my mind right before? Because then you can start seeing the signs of it showing up. It's like this, your body has a big red flag. You just got to be open to seeing it. How many have missed the red flags in relationships? I knew you'd understand that. And W is probably my favorite part. Whack it. That's that no thing, or welcome it and let it go. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a forceful thing. In fact, most of the time it's easier to just accept it, love it, and let it go. The kidney stone story that I told. I didn't like it, but I loved it and let it go. So, fear, lack, limitation, past traumas, unforgiveness, shoulda, woulda, couldas. Don't forget those. Shoulda, woulda, couldas. Anybody had a shoulda, woulda, coulda today? Yet? They show up and do this simple thing. Many of you have seen this little sketch. There was a Bob Newhart sketch. Anybody recognize it so far?
Yes.
There's a Bob Newhart sketch, and he had a sitcom where he was a psychologist. And so they were making fun of it on, I don't know if this was SNL or what show it was, but they were making fun of it, and so he played this therapist, and somebody comes and they start telling their story, and they were like, so doctor, what should I do about it? And he goes, stop it! They're like, what? Well, wait a minute, what about, stop it! Sometimes we have to say that to ourselves. Sometimes it comes to the point where we gotta go, stop it, like the no. We gotta slap our hands in a verbal sort of way and a mental sort of way. Stop it. Ernest Holmes wrote in Secrets of Belief, how would we use this power that is near to us? Certainly we would have to use it in an intimate way. And we have to believe that the power exists, and we have to believe that it is done unto us as we believe. What is belief anyway? Is it so hard to believe? We believe that tomorrow will come. Yes. We believe that the sun will rise in the morning and set at night. Yes. We believe that the grass will grow, and we believe that our food will digest. Yes. Mm-hmm. May take a little longer than it should, but it will eventually digest. When we believe that with faith, we can use our power. So it's time for us to stop resisting. Stop knowing what we believe. You are here because you either believe it or you are attracted to the belief of it, that the power is within you, and that you have the power to stop, to tell that lack of limitation, that addiction, that past BS to stop, to go away. I don't need you anymore. Thank you, because sometime you probably helped me get through something. So I thank you for it. I don't hate you. I just don't want you around anymore. Ever have a friend like that? Well, that's what these thoughts and ideas are. They're just old friends that don't work in your life anymore. And they can go off, and that energy can turn into something that somebody else could use better. Maybe somebody else could use that and will help them in their life. Just let it go. Release it. Stop resisting. I want you to remember two things here. Put your awareness on what you want, and Spirit can do for you only what it can do through you. So open yourself up. Listen. When those things come up, tell them no, tell them stop it. Love them, be grateful for them, and show them the door. Stop resisting and get yourself on to your where. Namaste. Thank you so much.